You're listening to another Geek Pride podcast.
Hey, I'm Nick, and I am one half of Sneaky Zebra.
And I am Gary, and I am the other half of Sneaky Zebra.
There we go. Mix and match for both continents.
Yep.
And welcome to the Geek Pride podcast. We're here with
Matt Geary.
And Sean the Cursed Wallace.
You are cursed. Yes, Sean is officially the most cursed man in podcast land and has been the doom of four of our podcasts.
I think it's four podcasts now. I roughly have a failure rate of about 50%.
It's okay. I'm here to tag in on that. I think I can take the crown.
Excellent. So between us, we can be a complete failure.
Yeah,
Yep.
brilliant.
Aim high.
Yeah.
Aim high. Yeah, definitely.
Right, so Sneaky Zebra, what have you guys been up to since I saw you last? Because it's been a while.
we've been doing the internet thing.
Oh, the internet thing. Yeah, of course.
Wow,
internet thing.
Yes.
When was the last time we saw you? That's the big question.
It would have been San Diego, my man.
Oh shit! Yeah, we shared a house. And
That
lived together
was a
for
blur.
Yes, that was a blur. Oh man, after especially that three black dot party, I've never felt so ill in my entire life. Do you know what though? Thinking, I have never drank so much in my entire life since I was over there. Like it was, me and my brother were trying to work out. I don't think there was a day of downtime. It was literally just constant.
It was you guys.
We
were
tried to warn you.
Constantly at it, and we did nothing to encourage or promote your drinking.
You've just got this look, Gary. It's like this, I'm not saying anything, I'm not doing anything, but I'm secretly judging you for not drinking loads right now.
It was because I was kind of down and I was drinking to deal with my feeling a bit down, and then I decided to drag you down with me.
Yeah.
And then I recruited Jason and Kay, and they were pretty good co-hosts, especially Jason.
Oh mate, they were just whirlwind characters. They were brilliant. Watching Kay and Jason sort of trying to chat up that bird at the party, it was amazing. I was just like, wow, this is brilliant. I feel like David Attenborough should be narrating over the top of this or something,
So I mean, here's the thing. So for those who don't know, San Diego, every night there's always an industry party, and our network 3BD had one, and we didn't know this, but it was a free bar, and we invited a few friends because we were allowed to. Our guy said, hey, invite a few friends and stuff like that, and we had loads of other industry friends turn up and stuff as well. But turning around to a house full of 4 Irish guys at the time, and saying, by the way, we've got you on the guest list and it's free bar.
That was your first mistake right there.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard, but the Irish, they've got a slight fondness for alcohol.
It was the best party just purely for the fact it was the only party at San Diego I went to where Jesus was standing at the bar drinking sake.
There was that guy as well.
The bearded guy.
Yeah, and he just kept on going around stroking his beard and pointing at people. He's on my Twitter. I can't remember his name, but he ended up. We had a pub quiz. We went to a pub quiz. Sorry, it's not a pub quiz. It's a trivia. It's a trivia quiz, or something. No, or I can't remember what they called it. They wouldn't call it a pub quiz, and every time I kept on calling it a pub quiz, they went, "What do you mean, the trivia night?" And I was like, "No, the pub quiz. You're in a pub. It's a quiz, pub quiz." And it's like, "Yeah, it's a trivia night." I was like, "No, it's not. It's a fucking pub quiz." Anyway, he was there doing karaoke and shit, and he was quite amusing. That guy.
No idea who the hell he was. He just kind of walked up. Apparently, Nick tweeted something which Nick didn't tweet, and he showed up.
No idea.
And he managed to get in. But hey, man, brilliant, a great night. I think I ended up trying to chat up one of the barmaids at the end of the night because I found out she was going to Vegas.
Oh God, I remember you telling us this. Yeah.
Yeah, we should totally hook up in Vegas, and she's like, I just want you to get away from me, drunken Irish man. You know, it's 2:00 in the morning and you're talking broken biscuits, leave me alone. And I'm like, yeah, we should totally, like, you know, hook up, me, you, Vegas. And then, yeah, so there you go.
It was a good night, that. It was a very good night. That was...
And it was very nice. It was very gracious of you. Very nice of you to sort of try and get all of us in and stuff, because I know it would have been quite hard for you. Because there literally was a house full of us. You managed to get there.
There was a house full, and as I heard on your podcast, it came up a K who just lived on the porch, which he still
it's
fucking
his
milks.
He literally did, though, but it was brilliant. I love Kay. The guy was amazing. He was just so amusing, man. Even when we went for breakfast with him that time, and he was just Snapchatting in the car on the way there in the taxi, and then we're having pancakes and shit, and he's Snapchatting it all. He's like doing it and stuff, and I was like, this is brilliant. What a legend.
I love Kay. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he really is. Really is.
Kay's just got this. Everywhere he goes, there's always a story. He's just one of those people
he makes the story, I think.
It really does. I can see him being the sort of the main focus on a lot of people's stories, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a hurricane of a human being.
Right.
San Diego's a while ago. San Diego now, I think.
I know, and I'm kind of gutted because I want to go this year and stuff. But I have about 1 million stag do's and weddings. My sister's getting a wedding. My best friend's getting married. Stag do's, all kinds of stuff. And I've spent God knows how much on a huge computer setup and stuff. So
you've been upgrading everything in your little man cave.
Yeah, I've upgraded the shit big time, and my wallet's full. My wallet's seriously feeling it at the minute.
You fixed your monitors that aren't aligned correctly, right?
Yeah.
just in case you'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. It's so, you know what, my OCD was fine. Now you've mentioned it, I've just noticed that the right hand side is ever so slightly up. So I'm going to spend the rest of this podcast.
This is how we got you drinking so much. It's real easy.
I'm quite easily led, unfortunately. That's just the way I am.
You are. We had you drinking double vodka and Cokes because you saw me and Jason down ours, which were just Coke. Just FYI, in case you didn't know that. We just both went to the bar, asked for just a large glass of Coke, and then downed it while staring at you, so you think we were drinking double vodka.
I must keep up with these men.
Yep.
I've let myself down so many times. I need to carry on. I then proceeded to let myself down anyway. So I'm just
so much fun.
a drunken monster, basically. A well-meaning drunken monster, but a drunken monster all the same.
Yeah. Jason's very similar as well. Jason, who was over from New Zealand, where he's as similar as Jay. Just whatever happens, there's always a story from him. Always.
Oh man, he's just one of those guys, isn't he? He just has a story about something, and it's just like, this is hilarious, man. It's brilliant. My brother was buzzing off him, like he was just, and he just amused him so much, man. It was brilliant.
It's funny because like we're friends with a couple of the guys over here in the UK Xbox scene. And that's what Jason works for over in New Zealand. But like, whenever we ask over, he was like, "Hey, look, could you get us a code for this, or can you help us out with this?" They're like, "No, I don't know if you can. Don't know if we can do that." You shoot a quick message to Jason and say, "Hey, Jason, I want a code for this game." And, yeah, sure, fine. Just got them laying around.
I bathe in them. Oh, all of them.
But no, right. San Diego was good this year. I really enjoyed it this year. I think there was a lot going on in terms of the after party stuff.
It was my first ever experience of it. I thought it was amazing, just the whole thing for me, man. I've said this before in a couple of podcasts. And you said it, I think, to me before, actually, Nick, that you'll not want to go to other cons once you've been there. And
UK cons pale in comparison to like all US cons. Just the scale and scope of everything is just on a whole different level. And everybody, even if it's miserable and they have to queue for like 2 days, no one complains.
But there's so much to do even outside. You know, what's one thing I found that was like the whole city embraces it. The whole city embraces the entire sort of San Diego Comic-Con sort of vibe. You know, all the pubs, everything. And for the first 2 days, we just literally just wandered around outside and like saw bits and people, talked to people and stuff, and it was amazing.
Did you fall into the trap of what we always end up falling into the first time we went? It was always like, oh yeah, this is all this going on. Let's go back to the same pub every time.
Oh, you guys stayed in Henry's or whatever it was called.
Henry's was just our place. We literally lived in Henry's. It wasn't anything to do with the fact that the waitresses were hot. And I was kind of in love with the one that sort of dressed up as Cersei Lannister, and yeah, she was amazing. Well, they never got a real name actually.
She dressed up as Jamie, mate. That's the only way you'd have had any chance.
I'm your brother. But yeah, I loved Henry's, man. You know, I don't actually think we ended up. I'm trying to think what other bars we went to. Obviously, we went to the one for the after party. We did Henry's. Oh shit! Did we actually do any other bars?
No, I think you guys lived in Henry's. We went to Henry's like 3 times with you.
Henry's was like the pre or the post bar, wasn't it? That was the like, okay, cool. Well, we'll get a quick bit in here and then move on. But you guys forgot to do the moving on bit.
Yeah, we're sort of creatures of habit. When we were just happy enough to sit there, if it sold alcohol, and we could get seats and shit, it wasn't really, you know. There wasn't no other issue sort of moving on and stuff. We were just kind of happy to sort of like drink ourselves into oblivion with the waitresses and stuff.
You're lucky they didn't take you to a cinema then or something, because you'd just been there the whole week.
The thing we always found, like the last couple of years we went, it was like there's a little bit too much choice. Like, you know, you've got friends going to various different parties and whatever, and you're like, okay, well, do we go to this one? Do we go to this one? Which one do we actually end up going to?
Well, I mean, you saw whenever we were sitting in Henry's, like I had like 3 people trying to coordinate with me different things, and I just got to the point where I was like, "Oh fuck it, we'll just stay here."
Yeah, it's true. Actually, there was like guys came in, so yeah, such and such is at this party, such and such is doing this, and it's just like fucking hell, man.
I was like, that's over there, that's over there. I can't be bothered to try and deal with. No, just stay here.
I can't remember. Did you guys make it to the Geek and Sundry one with us?
No. We were in Henry's.
Well, it's because we went to Funny or Die first, didn't we? And then we mailed on Funny or Die and went to Geek and Sundry.
But the Geek and Sundry one's funny because, like, basically, obviously we know Geek and Sundry is all part of, like, Legendary and Nerdist, and we knew everybody putting that party on, including, like, the guys who were footing the bill for it and everything. And we turned up a slight bit late, and like the bouncer on the door was just giving us jib, and just Gary got more and more English as the bouncer got more and more annoyed, and eventually I think he just let us in out of frustration.
Just keep being apologetic and not aggressive. And
wow.
I think you become more frustrating to American bouncers than anybody else because it's like, oh, other people would argue with you. I'm just apologizing for putting you in this situation.
Because they were like, oh yeah, as long as you guys get here for like 10:30, there'll be one of the Legendary people on the door, so they'll just wave you in. And we got up there at like 10:11, and then we turned up with like 5 extra people that we were.
That was maybe the problem.
Including
Larry. Hey, there you go. Brilliant. Actually, we did. I just realised we did go to another bar. We ended up because we couldn't find anywhere else that was open because everything closes really early, and we found some like Spanish bar that was playing like Spanish music till I don't know whatever time we were in there till. But yeah, it at least served a bit of alcohol before it closed. They were like sort of like mariachi bands and stuff playing and stuff.
And, I definitely think you need to do like more American cons anyway.
You need
like
to come
San
to
Diego.
Dragon Con, man. You would have so much
Dragon
fun.
Con.
Oh, dude, I really, really want to. I mean, like, so jealous when I see photographs and stuff, and it's just like, God damn it, I don't have enough time. And it's like at holidays and stuff, and then balancing, you know, a normal job, and then, you know, got a girlfriend now as well, so it's this, you know.
That's what it really is. That's what it really is. It's like, honey, can I have my testicles back? No.
Where are my testicles, Summer?
Oh, do you know what? There it is. The obligatory.
Rick and Morty reference.
I think if anyone in the world would flourish at Dragon Con, it would actually be you, Matt.
Oh, dude, I so want to go.
You would be next level, Matt. You would be like lawnmower man level of Matt. Like parts of your brain would have unlocked.
That's very dangerous.
Does that mean he'd shut down shortly afterwards and return to being, well...
Special.
Yeah, crayon eating special. But I like
for those 5 days he would have lived.
I'd like to note that we're not even 15 minutes into this podcast, and there's already been a Rick and Morty reference.
Hey, welcome to the party. This is you invited us on to this thing. It's gonna.
What else have we got to do to pass the time to season 3 apart from make shit jokes about Rick?
Oh, did you see? Obviously, Gary, Nick, you wouldn't have seen this, but Matt, did you see poor Mike? So Mike's had an absolutely terrible, terrible day apparently. And he shares this thing on Facebook, which looks a bit like Season 3 announcement, but it's just the Season 2 announcement from 2015, and he's not checked the date. So he's like, oh, it's finally been announced, I really needed this, I'm so happy. And then I saw the date, and it's like, no, this is definitely Season 2. And you go down 4 comments, and he's like, ah!
And I remember you sort of saying about it, Nick, about saying, you got to watch Rick and Morty. And like myself and Sean hadn't watched it. And we were at Play Expo, and they were staying at my house. And we thought, we've got back, we're a bit tired. Let's just have a few beers and watch some Netflix. We'll stick this Rick and Morty on. My God.
Did you
literally binged it. And it's just like, it's fucking amazing.
So good.
And you know what? Obviously it's completely random, and well, it's not random because it seems to tie in with each other, but it's the poignant moments I like.
It's
I kind of
so deep at times.
Yeah,
just
big
dark.
time. Yeah, do you know what? I got the it's what's it called? Chaos. Oh, mate, when he brings that when he's literally Unity, when he's he's basically addicted to Unity, and he takes himself into the garage and that song starts playing, and it's like, holy shit, man.
So I couldn't talk to anyone for about 2-3 hours after that episode. I was just sitting in a black room. Reliving my emo days.
Yeah, quality song, but it was just like, it was super, super poignant and stuff. And the bit, at the end of season 2 when he gives himself in and they play Hurt, and it's just like, wow.
When we had our last little LA trip, we met one of the guys who he's responsible for animation and design of props in Rick and Morty.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, yeah, if you guys want, I can, keep it on the download, but I can give you a studio tour. It's like, we flew out home the next day, and we're like, why couldn't we have met you sooner? And this was like 2-3 months ago. Just the tension is real. So every now and again, I see a little Facebook update of one of the guys working on it, and you just sit there and go, come on, just leak out a date.
Go on, just do it.
Yeah, you see...
Well, Justin Roiland just keeps, his response to everything is they're animating it.
I've heard a rumor that they've fallen out with two of the writers have fallen out with each other, and there's been a bit of a bust up, and hence why it's being delayed. It could be fake news.
Fake news, okay.
Sure.
It's fake news.
Yeah.
Don't believe
Unless
that.
it's fact.
Yeah.
Well, they originally did pin it. I know there's the joke of, obviously they said at the end, we've got to wait 3 more years until thingy. But like when they actually were animating that, they didn't know, because it's obviously such a cult success that it's now kind of building. But when they were first animating it, they still didn't know season 2 if season 3 was going to be greenlit, and then it got rushed forward. So the fact if it comes out this year at all is phenomenal. But I heard spring this year is what I've heard off the radar.
It's kind of like Arrested Development back in the day, in that like we'll just write a joke at the end of our show that says we might come back because we don't know while we're making this if we'll show back up.
Yeah.
I love the way they have little community references and stuff in it and stuff, which I thought was quite good. But yeah. That was something really that upset me slightly. Were Community, because it was one I was late to the party with Community, and I binge watched it, and it just got a bit shit towards the end, and I
think the last season was actually a lot better than like the 2 seasons. Like the season that didn't have Dan Harmon was bad. Then Dan Harmon came back, and it still wasn't much better. And then the last season that they did with like Yahoo, where they introduced a couple of new characters to it, where they had like Frankie, where I was like, oh, okay, this is actually slightly interesting again and amusing, but like that show was like 2-3 seasons tops of like really, really good.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of dragged beyond, obviously, what they were all planning. But it was such a clever show at the time as well, with like the whole Abed giving birth thing in the background of shots.
Yes,
I
exactly.
I delivered a baby earlier this year, and it's like whenever you watch it back, it's like, oh, you can literally see him. He's like, just off in the background somewhere. Just...
as soon as Glover left, it was like the death knell for the series, really, because Troy and Abed was really one of the emotional cause of the series and the kind of central conceit of the kind of entire show.
And then the Annie Jeffrey thing just kind of got dragged so far beyond its thing, and then like the character of Britta just made no sense by the end of just anything. But it did have Keith David for the last season of it, for a little bit of it, which gets
saying
for me.
Saying about Donald Glover, have you watched Atlanta? Because that is really good.
No, it's definitely on the list, but there's so much on the goddamn list that I might end up watching it around the time season 3 of Rick and Morty comes out.
Just watch that, take a break from watching it, play some Half-Life 3.
Yeah. Read The Winds of Winter.
Yeah,
that's coming out this year. God damn it!
The podcast with Kay, so I had some relevant.
It better come out this year. I'll be very upset. Do you know what? My friend, like, this is completely off topic and stuff, but my friend just messaged me. She messaged me and she went, I'm starting to read Game of Thrones. I was like, holy shit! Have you seen the series? And she's like, no. I was like, so you're reading the books from the start without seeing the series? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, I'm so jealous of you right now, because I was at that point and I got to read them all, not being spoiled by the series. And it's like, I said, I'm going to be here for you, Rach, because there's going to be some serious shit going down in those books, and you'll not know what to do with yourself. Sometimes you'll feel like you want to put that book in the freezer. I'm here for you. If you want to come and have a chat, because it will upset you. And she's like, oh, I don't know if I want to read them now.
You see, I feel like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, we've all seen it. Great film. It's about forgetting and love and all that stuff. I feel like if that technology actually existed, we'd all forget the things that we love the most in terms of films and books and so on, and relive them like that. And that's the most common actual use of that technology. It wouldn't be like, I don't want to get over someone, I want to forget everything about Dark Souls so I can play it for a second time.
Yeah, man, big time.
I would erase my brain the amount of times I would watch Star Wars on that thing. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I would have no memories. Like 1,000 times wiping my brain would be a bad thing.
You would just have a little petition in your brain of just the Star Wars memory wipe.
That's true, though. It's just like watching things, read. I remember reading those books, and I remember sort of sitting there. I can remember exactly where I was, what was happening in each death, what was going on and stuff, and I was just like, oh my god, what the fuck? I was like, when Robb Stark gets killed at the Red Wedding, I was under a parasol in Egypt, watch it, as my sister and my dad looked at me, because they'd read it before me, and they could see me turning the pages, and I was getting to that point, and I was slowing down and getting a bit, my face apparently was getting a bit sort of kind of forlorn, and they just watched me as I turned that last page where he gets killed, and I was like, god damn it! I threw it down on the ground, and then jumped in the pool and had a bit of a swim for a while, because I just was so annoyed.
I had a bit of a swim.
I would relive that. I would relive that over and over again, because it was just like the first time I'd read a book where they just fucked with me.
Matt, so, right, okay. Question for everyone then. You get one pure erase for only one TV series or book or film or game. Would you choose that, Matt, over what the fuck is the last Star Wars movie called? I've completely forgotten.
Rogue One.
Rogue One. Would you choose that over Rogue One?
Sean does not compute.
While you're thinking, Matt, Gary, Nick, what would yours be?
What if I could just erase something and then get to re-experience it again?
Yes.
Like with no. Mine would be Star Trek 2009.
Okay.
That whenever I watched that in the cinema, it sounds like a weird one to do, but I grew up on Star Trek or whatnot. But that film, I watched that, and that was the thing. I I saw it 4 times in one day.
Wow.
But mainly because the first time I watched it, I loved it that much, and then there was an IMAX screening and like sat in it. But it was like the first film I'd watched since I was a kid watching Star Wars. Where I watched it, and I was like, "This is why I want to make films." I just got to the end of it and loved every second of it.
I think recent decent. I'd probably go with Guardians.
Good.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a good shout.
Yeah, just because it's so unique in terms of current landscape of films. Stylized and yeah.
Would you say that? Would you say that sort of, because there's been a lot of films that have come out, and I'm quite easily amused anyway and stuff. But when I come out of a film and it's been amazing, I like proper buzz. Did you get that proper buzz off Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, I really enjoyed it, but it didn't give me that huge massive buzz that maybe like the first Avengers film fucking made me buzz to the high heavens and stuff. Controversially, I actually buzzed off the Superman Man of Steel film. Yeah, I know, controversial, but
I think the difficulty like with Marvel films is like Guardians. I came out of and I thought, oh, that was really cool, but and as much as I enjoyed it, and I was like, oh, that was a really fun all round film. Like, I didn't love it as much like coming out of watching Iron Man 1 in the cinema,
yes.
where I just remember coming out of that film just going, oh my god, that was just couldn't even it's like a billion thoughts running through my head of just all these like various things. It's kind of just. Guardians, I think, is like a really cool visual spectacle. Just for me, it hasn't really got that same impact as some other films I've watched. Like even like Rogue One, I think probably had more impact on me than Guardians did.
Wow!
Just for one scene.
Because we're here, we're gonna have to talk about it now because we're talking about it. No, shut up, silent, Sean. We've talked about it in every podcast. We're gonna do it right now, right here.
We've got a standard format for the podcast now. Okay, there's a Rick and Morty reference. Then we talk about Trump. Then we talk about your waifu Rogue One. Then we do some recommendations and we say goodbye. And that's what we do on every episode.
Well, then let's stick to the formula.
You're gonna kill me. God damn it. Fine. All right. It was a segue. We've been talking about it. I thought we'd just sort of go in. Fine, Sean. I'm not answering your other question now.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, interesting. I think I'd pick the Dark Tower series because I absolutely love that book series. Plus, it's like 7-8 books, and it's done. So I know I'd be able to experience it again in full. It wouldn't be like Game of Thrones, where you'd be like midway through the best sex ever, and then the girl or guy just disappears entirely, and you're like, well, fuck, now I've got to wait 7 years to get the next 5 minutes, and then 20 years before I can climax.
But in a way, that's part of it. It's the tease, Sean. It's a bit of the tease, you get from that. George R. R. Martin's currently tickling my ball sack. Hey, man, this is what you could be getting very soon. And I'm like, oh, don't tease me so much, George. Don't tease me.
Fine, that's good for you. I read all of the books over the course of 3 or 4 months because they'd all been out. So I would prefer to just finish them.
Yeah, well, I hammered them. I did 5 books in 2.5 weeks, I think. Wow. Because I was on holiday, and I literally don't sunbathe, and I don't do anything other than swim and snorkel. So literally evenings, days, evenings, whenever I could, book out read, and I literally just hammered them all. And that was one of the most emotional holidays I've ever had in my entire life.
Because you did something that you could have done whilst not on holiday.
That's true.
Well, no, for me, holidays are about reading and stuff like that. Because I don't get a lot of time. I've got loads of books, backlog of books, and I could read them, but I'm always doing Geek Pride stuff or doing other bits and bobs, and I don't have enough time to sit there and just I don't make enough time for myself to sit there and read a book. Whereas I'm on holiday, airport, flying,
actually,
sitting there.
On a plane is usually, that's like the only time I read is whenever I'm stuck on a plane now. Usually because I've seen every damn film that's on the plane.
I find words are tough, so I do pictures. Pictures and songs.
Nick has read Green Eggs and Ham 20 times on the plane.
If I could erase Green Eggs and Ham from memory.
Amazing.
Oh,
All right. Okay, we'll steer ourselves back onto course then. So what have Sneaky Zebra been up to since we saw you last? What have you got any plans?
Back to the first question in the first minute.
That's true. That was the opening gambit like 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, the goal for us is always to try and make some more videos, be it cosplay ones, short films, sketches, whatever. The big fucking, pardon my language, but the big question is how do you do that? Because, you know, we get stuck in a kind of a rut between, well, it's expensive to make the content we want to make, but we can't grow more until we make the stuff we, you know, the kind of, not, I don't want to say practice stuff, but like you kind of sit there and go, well, what can we make with the resources we do have?
Yeah.
And then that flips onto the another question of like, we live in the middle of nowhere. We live in a suburb just outside of London. So, you know, it even costs us just for people to get here to help us kind of thing. So that's the big thing we've been trying to work out. Obviously, you know, Prop Wars came out towards the end of last year, which we're really, really proud of.
You should be. It was amazing. Really impressed with that.
And then it's just been trying to kind of work on a focus of like, well, how do we make the next thing? How do we actually do that? Because like there's 1,001 scripts that Gary wrote, or there's, you know, some stupid ideas that we've come up with where we can go, oh, look, you know, this is really cool. People would love to watch this. Like, yeah, brilliant. How do you get that made? So that's been the big thing at the moment is actually trying to work out the how rather than the doing, which has been a little bit of a downfall. But you know, you can't, well, short of winning the lottery kind of thing.
You seem to have a bit of a love-hate thing with YouTube at the minute as well. There's a lot of sort of, you know, them changing their policies and
YouTube
views and
is its own enemy half the time because it's very difficult for anybody making stuff because they promote, you know, you kind of have your heavy hitters, as in like these are your main YouTubers, and they show lots of love and support for them. So it's like, here they've got a YouTube Red series. Here we're sharing out their channel. Here we're doing this, and then everybody else kind of gets left by the wayside. Just kind of, you know, and the numbers thing on. There's been so many videos of, you know, like less views. You know, PewDiePie had his whole being a dick controversial thing. And just,
what do you think on that, by the way? Do you think
I was furious at that because he manipulated clever wording to benefit himself a lot for me.
He did.
I think.
Do you think? So do you actually think? Because when we talked about this with Kay, but the way he said it, I thought he was being quite sincere, and then I thought he backed out towards the end. Do you think he was trolling?
It seemed like he pussied out. Like he went, "Oh yeah, we'll get 50 million subscribers, and I'll delete my channel." And then he kind of sat there and went, "Oh, well, I'm not going to delete my channel." And deleting the channel that he did, because at no point during any of that did he go, "No, delete my other channel." Because if I said, "Oh, I'm going to delete my channel," you would assume I mean I'm going to delete Sneaky Zebra. Not I'm going to delete this other YouTube channel that I don't ever mention, especially the fact I've posted this on the Sneaky Zebra channel and not on that other channel.
So he did.
I think the big thing.
Sorry.
So I think like the big thing that kind of also annoyed me from it was what then happened because of the fallout. So great, it was as a joke. That's fine. That's kind of understandable where he was going. That he was trolling, he was joking. I can kind of understand that logic. The trouble is that everybody put this emphasis on it, and there was this great exposure for a short, brief minute of going, right, here's just one of the things wrong with YouTube at the moment. Audience engagement and videos actually getting out to subscribers. So to do that, I'm going to protest by doing this. And then as soon as he turned around and said it was a joke, everybody forgot the fucking issue. And everybody just went, oh, look, he's trolling. Oh, look, he
PewDiePie trolls, and everybody just forgets the reason for like wanting someone. Because what you needed was for the smaller channels like us and everybody else is one of those big ones to do something drastic to go, YouTube, pay attention because your system's broken. And then here was somebody, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, saying, I'm going to do something about it, and then turned out to be a joke. He took away all the fuel or fire that it had for, you know, helping anybody else out, and it just felt like a really shitty publicity stunt to get him more subscribers, that kind of annoyed me because I kind of sat there and went, you said you were going to do something, and it's not like if he'd done it he wouldn't have rebuilt his subscriber base so quickly, because all it would take is like a tweet or two, and everybody would resubscribe to his thing. If anything, it would probably help his channel, because a bunch of dead accounts that didn't exist anymore, probably like 3-4 million accounts, would have been taken away. So he probably would have made more money on his channel by streamlining it and whatnot. But it was just a very very backing out of something that he said he was going to do, and being crafty with his wording.
The big thing with YouTube, the big thing that's the major issue of at the moment is that everything it only services the self-perpetuating already big channels. So like you look now, like unless you are someone who does, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but just as a plain and simple way. If you're someone who does high frequency, low production cost content, i.e. webcam stuff, daily vlogs, let's play stuff that once you've set up, effectively all you're spending is your time on doing it and editing it. Then if you do anything else outside of that window, YouTube doesn't give a shit. And that's part of the issue, because at the same time, on the other hand, they go, hey, look, YouTube Red, we're making all these series, and we're trying to take on Netflix, and we're trying to take on TV by creating this original content. But all we've got is these vlog stars. So, that's
well, that's it, isn't it? But I think a lot of one thing I've noticed more recently is that a lot of people who watch YouTube are young teenagers, even sort of younger kids. Like my mates' kids and even my girlfriend's kid, they spend so much time watching gamers play games instead of playing them themselves. They watch gamers play games, and they watch how-tos and things like that, and it's just like, so that's why they get so many things, because there's like so many kids out there and stuff, and it's such a shame, because that's, for me, YouTube is, obviously I like what like how-tos, things to help me out and stuff like that, but for me, YouTube is seeing like small independent sort of kind of film companies and people like yourselves making longer like fan films and stuff like that, and I love that, but you don't get as much sort of attention, because the attention span of kids is all they're interested in is playing Call of Duty.
It's very
Isn't
like
that the
difficult,
way that
because I remember like back whenever I first started making stuff was sorry I didn't hear a word. Like back when I started making video stuff was like before YouTube kind of became like an actual like big thing. So I used to be on like fan film forums and stuff where people were making stuff, and literally the only place you could watch them was on like theforce.net, and people would just kind of upload them to an FTP and you would watch them. And then like YouTube came about, and it was like this great format, because I remember like people like Kevin Smith even like saying how the world of like filmmaking had changed because of YouTube, because like before it was like I have to struggle to like hire a film camera, and then I have to develop, get the film processed, and I have to edit it on a Steenbeck, and then I have to do this, and then I have to get it transferred. Because then now you can shoot a thing on your phone with your friends, and you can upload it, and you can share it out to the world immediately, and millions of people can see it. And every time YouTube evolves, it begins to ignore layers and layers of those people that at one point was like this great platform for, and it starts to become just as exclusive as the previous like iterations of media before, where there's like, here's this tier that you can no longer cross. Like it was the thing that like broke a barrier, and then it just started building its own barrier within it, for everybody kind of coming in.
You look at like when the partner system started in, what was it, 2011, they started doing the partner system. And all the ones that kind of grew from there, like the ones that we hugely idolize, like, Freddie W, Epic Mealtime, Corridor Digital, all those guys, they kind of grew and pivoted, and they're the top of their game there. But there's been nobody else since. Like, there's been a few channels that try and kind of make original content and stuff like that. But that's, I think, half the trouble with it at the moment, is there's no way for small original content to grow into the next Freddie W or anything like that. And I'm not just talking about ourselves, and don't mean it in a very egotistical way, but like, you sit there and go, well, what would happen if you say like the top 100 YouTubers left to go to, I don't know, Vimeo or whatever? Like, they would be screwed out of a huge amount of content. And like the other example is like our network 3BD, although it only has 25 people on the network, it's something like the 23rd largest YouTube network in terms of numbers, because they've got a few solid people on there like Cnanas, Vanos, and Syndicate and Cupquake who pull in millions of views. But there's nobody else, like, as I say, to go, hey, look, you're pretty small. What can we do to get you to their level? Got to a point where Gary started writing a fucking web series about it.
I think.
Do you think? I think what you get with this is where, I think. Sorry, pardon me. That new platforms take advantage of this. They take advantage of the disenfranchisement of content creators and users, and that's when. You think about sort of like MySpace and stuff like that. They were the big things back in the day, and then Facebook took advantage of people's annoyance that you were getting lots of friend requests, and it would just seem to be a big spam thing for bands and stuff. And then Facebook came about, and I think that there's going to be one day there'll be another company, a new platform, and they'll take advantage of the disenfranchisement of users of YouTube, and they'll steal the rug from underneath them unless they're careful.
Yeah, I mean,
and they start looking after their users.
You're not wrong there, Matt, but the problem there is that when you have a system that relies on getting essentially eyeballs onto something where the users aren't paying for anything, there's only a certain number of ways that someone can actually monetize that. So the reason you've seen that through MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all of these, it isn't because of some, some kind of evil intention to drive everybody into a certain number of avenues and then so on. It's just because that's the only way to make any money out of a system nobody is willing to pay for. It's like you're not the product isn't the people who are on there. As we always say, if you get something for free, you are the product, because you're getting something for free. You are seeing something, thus your attention is the product that company gets to sell to other people. So as a result, I don't think there's any other way around it.
I appreciate that. When you started Facebook or even YouTube, it's free, and the amount of data and data that they have to sort of like all the photographs that get uploaded, all the videos, everything, it's huge. You need money and they need revenue. But I think the issue is they go too far with that, and they like Gary and Nick said, they will focus on the big earners on YouTube and in Facebook, where you used to get amazing reach for things. You're barely getting a fraction of it because they want you to pay for it more. And I would still pay for reach in certain things even if I was getting like 50%, but we're not. You're barely getting 10 sometimes.
Well, I mean, with YouTube, they're actually changing the model slightly. With YouTube Red is actually doing some really interesting things. We've seen some of the benefits of it ourselves looking at our analytics. The trouble with that is they're taking so long to roll it out. Like, it's still not available in the UK.
What is it then? Can you explain it?
It's effectively you pay $10, so about £10 a month, and you get a few things that include the ability to download videos to watch offline. So you can obviously bulk download and watch them on your train journey or whatever. No adverts, which is the biggest thing. And then you get access to like Google Music and background playing of the app as well. So if you listen to music on the app, you don't have to have the YouTube app front and center on your phone. As a content creator, you actually get more from a viewer than you do if they weren't. The average viewer at the moment has to watch around about 400 videos before they generate $2 of revenue to a content creator. YouTube Red is much, much less. So say, for example, they do it on watch time. So say, for example, someone watches like 10 hours of YouTube, 9 hours of that is PewDiePie, 1 hour of that is Sneaky Zebra, then we'd get $1, he'd get 9.
Yeah.
Simplified maths there for the sake of it. But that is a good-ish model, and I think, and they're chucking in obviously all this extra content they're making. Like, Laser Team was probably one of the best things they've done so far. The Rooster Teeth production, which they bought at the end of it.
But I think the sad thing is that YouTube is trying to figure out how to be something else now. That they've gone, oh well, there's Spotify and there's Netflix. How do we put those two things? How do we own those two things now? Which is what they're trying to make YouTube Red, which is here, you pay for it, you get a music library, you can, watch exclusive content that we make. the only real difference is that Netflix's content is, well, made by professional things.
Yeah.
You get stuff like Stranger Things. YouTube, you're watching a vlogger who's now been turned into an actor in a comedy written by guys who, don't really write big comedy stuff. So you're just getting not the same level of production and expectation as, like, oh, I'm going to watch Luke Cage on Netflix. Like, well, here I'm going to watch this vlogger that I've not really seen act at all try and act his way through an 8-part web series that's about him in high school. It's, they're trying to compete in a market that they're not really in, instead of figuring out how to take what they have and make it work.
Yeah, I agree.
That's about as much as I got on YouTube. Nick has so many analytics. I just sit there and just watch stuff.
I could do fucking a week's worth of podcasts just on talking about YouTube.
No one
love
would want to hear it. But...
To be honest, Nick, I love your little YouTube posts with all your little figures and facts and things. I was like, wow, he's such a YouTube analytics nerd.
Well, I still hold dear the romantic stage, as I say, of like, I think probably like YouTube was at its best in like 2012, 2013, when every week I remember getting excited when a Freddie W video would come up on a Thursday evening at 9 p.m. kind of thing. It's this great, as Gary said, it's this great platform to get your content out there. The trouble is at the moment is they throttle everything else because somebody who's already made it has released a new vlog. Or the other big thing as well is there's tons of articles on it about the move of traditional media posting their stuff up. So Saturday Night Live or Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon will cut their show up into 15 different segments, and then they'll all go viral and they'll all be on the trending tab. But you sit there and go, well, how can you compete against a studio-funded budget? Here's us trying to throw Thor's hammer around Gary's back garden. Yay. Here's Jimmy Fallon. It's there's still a lot of love for YouTube. I think my favourite quote about YouTube is from Philip DeFranco, and I'm this is messing up the quote a little bit because I can't remember exactly what he said, but he turned around and said that YouTube is like your drunk best friend, where right now he's a bit of a dick, but there's some good in there, and you just want him to be that that good person again, kind of thing.
For DeFranco, I've been watching him for years, but he on and off. But more recently, he just he makes a lot of sense. He's quite a rounded he's sort of rounded sort of guy when it comes to his views on things. And I find myself agreeing with him more times than I disagree with him, and especially like stuff when he was going on about fake news, and there's even times when he'd be talking about Donald Trump, but then somebody would put in something about, I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but somebody had said something and it was fake itself, and he called them on it, even though it was to the it was what's the opposite of detriment, Sean?
Oh, so it's
the advantage.
He had the advantage, or it supported his case.
Yeah, it supported the sort of Donald Trump's case and stuff, and it was just like but I think that's the way it should be.
Well, actual unbiased media is the
unbiased,
which is
unbiased.
A rarity now.
Yeah, big time.
He's great at being able to present a conversation on a video format that really is just him talking. Like, I feel like I'm in conversation with him when he's doing these videos, rather than him just talking to me. And I don't know how he does that, but he does that.
Yeah, it's really good. I really like, he's always he moves his stuff onto Facebook. Actually, it's a bit of a divergence, but I've noticed you guys you're starting to put your stuff onto Facebook more often now as well. Mm-hmm. Does that not have an impact on your YouTube figures?
See, the thing is that, like, for a long time we went against, like, anytime anybody would upload our stuff to Facebook, we would hit them with like a takedown, and we'd be like, no, they've stolen our content. And we were talking to the guys from Reckless Tortuga, and we were just kind of standing outside, and they'd like fully embraced uploading stuff to Facebook. And the way that they worded it was like, we were like, maybe we're missing a trick here, because we kept seeing it as the enemy of what we
Right.
were doing, and they were just like, well, it's not really the enemy, guys, because odds are the people who see it on Facebook might never see it on YouTube because it's just another platform.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to get it out there, so you may as well have it on YouTube and Facebook, because then you might not make the money from it, but you might, you know, people will see your work more.
Yeah, that's
than
the
thing,
Cory
and, you know,
Doctorow quote that I really like, which is, as an independent artist, piracy isn't my enemy, obscurity is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we had this frustration of like, you know, we put a cosplay video up, for example, like San Diego. I remember was a clear one. 2014 San Diego video went up on our YouTube one. It got something like 500,000 hits at one point, and then we found that Brazilian news site had posted it up direct to YouTube, and they were on like 4.5 million hits with, you know, hundreds of thousands of shares and likes and stuff like that. And
Bloody
we're
hell.
like, that could have been us. And the old school, going back to like, you know, the golden days of YouTube in my head, like the mentality was always like, you put a video up and you point every single social media site towards that video so that the views go up, you go viral on YouTube, you get noticed, and you did it. But as Gary says, now it's to the point where it's like, well, you know, the Facebook video platform isn't terrible. The quality could still be better and some of the options could be better still, but you do get more reach out of that. And we even start putting some of the shorter videos on. Twitter can take 2-minute 20 videos. Instagram can take 1-minute videos. I've started using VidMe. We're looking at sorting out a Vimeo account and stuff like that. So it's rather than point everything towards YouTube, but hell, just get it up and just get it seen.
Got to diversify that portfolio.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, would you still, obviously, there's a difference between you guys uploading your own content and some cheeky bastard uploading your content and then having it as their own, because obviously I can't remember what site was it that uploaded one of your cosplay videos.
Oh, was it Digital Spy?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they
Cheeky
flat out
fucks.
stole that one. That is, it's annoying. I mean, now the good thing is most places, like even Facebook, have, you know, content ID on there. So if we upload, I mean, that's the other reason for uploading it first before anyone else, is that once we upload it, it's in the system. So if anybody does re-upload our thing, we get sent a message to go, oh look, this matches your thing. Like, is this,
rather than finding it by chance?
Finding it 12 million views later, whenever our one has, you know, 100,000 views, and you kind of sit there and go, okay, well, I mean, it's not so much the annoyance of like losing out on those views. It's more the annoyance that a bunch of people now associate that these people put in this, you know, did this work or whatnot. And it's like, well, you know, I got insane for like 4 days editing this thing, and these guys have just stolen it and just shoved it up on there, and you guys followed them, and it's like, you're probably not going to see another thing from us because they might never steal another one of our videos again.
it goes back to saying what we were saying earlier on. I mean, at the end of the day, if people see it on our channel, they follow, that means the next video we put up, we get that 1 extra person or 2 extra people, 3 extra people, which then makes it easier and easier and easier every time. Like, there is no denying it. Every single video that we've made has made the next one slightly easier. And that's the whole reason. Like, you sit there and go, well, if we're making stuff effectively for free for most people, the only thing we ask for is get a bit of exposure so that the next one we can make is either bigger or better, or, you know, because we could get a sponsor and make a bigger budget thing.
With it being YouTube, a lot of people still, because you don't pay to watch stuff on YouTube, a lot of people still don't realise, just like, obviously, because you sit there and go, even going to like MCM London, like, we have people like, oh, you guys haven't done a video at MCM, and it's like, it still costs so much money just to do a convention in London, and we live near London, but it's like, because it's so isolated, we have to get a hotel room, we have to, you know, drive, we have to park, we have to do all this, like, you know, it's still £300-400 to do MCM as a cosplay video. It's like, it costs, like, we worked out it was a couple of years ago, whenever we did the last time we did a full MCM one, it almost cost what it cost me to go to Dragon Con.
Wow.
To do MCM. And I was just like, this is ridiculous, that just the difference in, like, again, like, convention size and like what you're getting out of it as well. It's just like this, people just kind of sit there and go, no, but you make the videos, like, you get to watch the video for free, but it's like, it's really expensive. Like, Prop Wars was not, like, the first Prop Wars was cheap to make because it was in my back garden. using things I already owned. So technically it cost money because I had to buy and build things before, but like it was dirt cheap. The second time round, like we filmed Prop Wars 2 twice. So like we had so much trouble with that thing. It wound up costing like quite a bit of money.
Why did you have to film it twice?
The first version completely went downhill. Like we scheduled 3 days to film a 12-page script, which was a mistake the first time round. On the day one, we filmed a page and a half.
Oh dear.
On day two, we filmed just over a page. So by the first 3 days of filming, we hadn't even covered a third of the actual script. And then we ran out of money for the location because we had a giant abandoned mall, and we had spent every penny that Loot Crate, who sponsored the video, had helped us out with. And then I kind of paid for an extra day because I was working on a TV show at the time, and then we still couldn't finish the thing. And then I think we went to San Diego Comic-Con or something. So we had flown away and we'd been in America for like doing like 2 trips to America and doing some other stuff, and like 3-4 months had passed since we'd kind of failed miserably, and I was just like, okay, well, instead of trying to fix this thing, we should just start again because we can't fix this. Like, it's too much of a mess. And at which point, like, Ed, who's in it, had been working out like a madman. And he had, like, I kept comparing him to The Rock because I was like, only Ed now can make Ed from 4 months ago look like a pussy. But it was just like, we were just like, and then Ed was getting like new tattoos done and everything, and it was like, it just makes sense for us to scrap this and start again.
Where did you meet that guy? Because he's in quite a few of your videos.
Ed, he went to our high school. I used to work with Ed in a video store that I worked in for about 3-4 years, and me and Ed were like we worked together all the time, and we just geek out.
So it's kind of like Clerks.
Yeah, so we had like so many fun stories of working in this video store, just me and Ed dicking around. And like whenever I started making stuff, like whenever I was working in the video store, me and him both bought Force Effects lightsabers, and for so long me and him wanted to make a lightsaber fight. But obviously, me being like 200 pounds heavier than I am now, whatnot, I'm very self-conscious. Like, no, there's not a chance of doing that. So, but we kind of he just kept wanting to like volunteer to help with stuff, even though he like didn't fully know what. He used to do animation, and he was like, I don't really know what to do on screen or anything like that. But I was like, he looks big, and he never really has to say anything but the words "game on," which
and he was local.
Yeah, and he lives like just around the corner, so he's just kind of become a mainstay of like Sneaky Zebra videos now as just a regular character. Like even at like some conventions, I've had people ask where he is. Like the third member that no one ever sees.
So you wouldn't have any all that mall stuff, that the stuff in the mall. There's not going to be any outro reels or anything.
There is like a bunch of footage of it, but like half of it is like we only got like one side of a dialogue scene and never got the reverses of anything. No. It's there's like one scene that's at the beginning of it, one scene that's in the middle, one scene that's at the end, and like we only have half of that, and there was like no way to like shoot bits to blend it together, and I've put up a couple of clips of it of like some of the lightsaber stuff, but it was just, it got out because we had a budget for the first time ever to do one of these things. It just escalated so much because we were like, we have but like we can do this and we can do this and we can do this, and then whenever it went downhill, I think I gutted about 5 pages out of the script. Right. And then I think even whenever we filmed it again, I gutted like 2 pages whilst we were there out of it, just to get it down even shorter.
Like for example, like the budget stuff, like we got proper stars in our eyes, like roasting at specs. Like, oh, we got a budget, cool. Well, we'll get a FS. What was it? An FS? No, it was an F7. Yeah. Sony F7, which was a brand new camera, just come out, to a point where we're like, oh, cool. Really high quality.
We'll shoot 4K and we'll do all this.
And we'll get a Movi. Movies were just being the things at the time. The DJI Ronin had just actually come out, so camera stabilization was a big thing at the time. We were like, oh, cool. And then like looking back at it now, it was like, well, we put a 1080p version up on Facebook, on YouTube, and we didn't need the stabilization.
I'll be honest. The other sad part as well is just watching it back, like because Ed was kind of a really key part of there even being a Prop Wars 2. Because after we did the first one, he was bugging me for about a year to come up with a second one, because the first one ends like pretty definitely. And like I was just like, oh, okay, and then I like eventually kind of dragged it up. So like every time we were doing it, he was getting so frustrated with everything that was going wrong with it.
Right.
And like it's kind of nice now because he watches it back and is like, the one thing me and him are kind of both hate and are slightly thankful for is the first version of it would have been shit. In all honesty, it would have been overindulgent and like way too long. And the mall was not a good environment for it. Like the scrapyard we used was so like bright and busy and colourful and stuff, and it just worked so much better than everything else we'd, done. And it was like a kind of a blessing and a massive, massive expensive curse. Because I was working on a show and I was getting paid a decent wage. A lot of that wage disappeared just on this one video. So it's kind of reluctantly a sad one because there's a whole version that we paid for that no one will ever see because it doesn't fully exist. I think supposed to do behind the scenes at some point, but we just never did.
I do think we need to do like not a behind the scenes, but more of a hey, here's how we failed, and then just use clips on that and basically. 9/3 of that will be like, okay, right, Nick fucked up on this, and then Nick fucked up on this, and then Nick fucked up on this.
I mean, to be honest, I was because I was working on a TV show at the time. Like I was working 6 a.m. until about 8 every day.
Longer than that.
And like some days I was getting back at like midnight or like 1 a.m. because I was working on a US TV show. So like I would be about to leave at like 6 o'clock, and then I'd get an email from someone in LA who'd just woken up asking me for something, so I kind of be stuck there exporting stuff, and then I get back and then have to try and do prep stuff on Prop Wars, and it was just like we rushed the heck out of that thing to try and get it made, and whenever there's like a textbook of like what to do to make a film, we just did the exact opposite of every fucking thing you could do, and it was the worst part is like I now have like anytime we shoot anything of like let's not do it like Prop Wars because that was just the best guide of everything you could do badly.
It's been great as a real like learning curve as well. Like looking back on it,
it was absolutely expensive
fantastic.
Learning curve.
Yeah. Well, we did a little action shoot the other day actually, which was interesting because we never really do much in terms of shooting, sitting down and doing actual fight stuff. So like. A couple of guys just around and said, hey, look, we'll do this. And obviously Gary then pushed to write a script, and we did that. And then that's been another little learning curve. So that's the fun of making that stuff, is actually kind of learning so that next time we don't fuck up. So hopefully by Prop Wars 3, there's only going to be only a 50% fuck up, not a total
by
fuck
Prop
up.
Wars 17, we'll have this shit licked.
We have actually got a series for Prop Wars. Like Prop Wars 4 is going to be cars. Prop Wars 5 is going to be... Yeah.
So also we have
franchise.
mythical budgets for these things. So at this point, Prop Wars 4, just on the insurance alone, is going to be like 50-60 mil.
So
I'm gonna say it. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Well, your best videos is I can't believe it's not Butterman.
Oh, fuck off.
Jesus Christ.
That was filmed in half a day. We came up with the idea half a day earlier.
I don't know why it tickled me. That one just did. It really did.
So
It
bad.
tickled me. I know. I liked it. I'm just easily amused. I think the first video of yours I saw was the one was the Death Star one, and
The Death Star one. Do you want to narrow that down?
Yeah. I was going to
There's
say.
about
Well, it's the
four.
one with the Star Wars one. It's the one where Gary's talking to the Stormtrooper.
Oh, where I was
and
talking to, yeah. Basically the video where I talk to myself.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Yeah, that one. That was the first
it was
ever video,
the Apple the Apple parody of the Genius of
Yes,
I
that's
bought
it,
the
yeah.
so it's not a Death Star, it's a fucking disco ball with a satellite dish attached to it.
Yes. Okay. We're gonna probably have to. We're what's the 1 hour.
that's
We
the
usually
hour
keep
mark,
these to an
yeah.
hour, but yeah. But well, we've had a few other guests. We'll carry on for a bit because I'm enjoying this. You've mentioned about you work in America, Gary, and obviously you said that you're gonna. Well, you said you're moving there.
Yeah.
How much further are you to that point?
I have sent over my last bit of paperwork about 20 minutes before this cool.
Wow.
No.
So
wow.
fingers crossed, as long as lawyers are happy with it, then it will start getting filed this week. Yeah, and then once it all gets filed, it's like a week for a reply, or 2 weeks for a reply. So fingers crossed, in a couple of weeks I'll find out if I actually can move over. But I've kind of
if you're not in a banned country,
it will get approved because I've been selling stuff left, right, and centre.
I was going to say, are you literally just selling everything up in sticks and then starting again?
Pretty much. Like I mean, there's certain things where I've just like kind of sold a bunch. Like I sold my Proton pack that I built like 10 years ago because obviously like where I cosplayed the Ghostbuster stuff, which was very sad to let go. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that I've kind of like sold, old action figures and.
I couldn't do it, man.
And like my Blu-ray shelf was like 900 Blu-rays, and I think I posted a picture the other week where it's like 2 shelves now. Just because I just had to go, okay, well, what do I actually want to keep? And I'm like, okay, Aliens. Like I don't need Alien versus Predator 1 and 2. They're going. I don't need Terminator 3 or 4. They're going. Just
man, I
streamline everything.
I think, Matt, you getting rid of one model would be like Sophie's choice for you, let alone getting rid of all of them.
I know, man. I just don't know. I've had to sell stuff before. Right, I was like a few years back, and it was coming up to Christmas, and I'd got no money and stuff, and I was like, all right, I need to get some presents and stuff, and I had to literally sell some stuff, and it was the worst time of my life because I had to think of stuff.
It's heartbreaking because you sit there and
it
go,
really
like,
is.
you kind of sit there and go, okay, well, how do I have this much emotional attachment to like this thing? Like, 'cause there was the only thing I've literally come across thus far. I say thus far was I have a bunch of Ghostbusters toys from whenever I was a kid. And it's my Ecto one and like my 5-6 figures that I have left, and they're beaten to crap and played with and everything. And like I know someone would buy them off me for the bits of the Ecto and whatnot, and like I'd probably get £100 for like the stack of them, but I cannot bring myself to sell it because I will like literally I teared up at the idea of selling it and I was like nope
no man,
it's like the last remnants of my childhood. I cannot sell this.
So
you obviously here we're going to go on to our Trump part now. Have you got the fear, Gary, that he is soon to be well, he is soon to be, he's the fucking president and you're moving across to his world?
I mean, the thing is that I'm white, so I figure I mean, without sounding like it's a terrible thing to say, but like everybody I talk to just goes, "Oh, you shouldn't have any trouble because you're white," and I'm like, why do we live in this world where that is? I feel like I've travelled back in time.
Yeah,
it's
some other
insane,
time period
man.
that's like, because genuinely, I sit there and go, there is a fear that if you, well, I mean, granted, like that's no guarantee either. I mean, I'm white and I'm from Northern Ireland, so like that's got to have some favour, right?
Yeah. Makes sense. He moved to Boston.
Well, he's technically Scottish, isn't he? So
he's.
So man, you just watch it and like you watch that John Oliver thing that was being on recently, and there was one who's the guy with the awesome accent. He's like a news presenter accent with glasses, and he goes through all the stuff that he said.
God, I know who you mean. He does the breakdown stuff. I've seen him on Facebook so many times.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh my god, I can't believe it. It's just like. It's insane. It's farcical. Farce is the word for it, and I'm just like, this is car crash TV, man. It's just like the world is.
Whenever like the creators of South Park are saying like they can't even parody this stuff because it's so ludicrous that they can't come up with a more ridiculous way of seeing all these things. You see, it goes, oh, we'll make race jokes. Nope, literally, he's just doing that on his own.
He's just saying that shit. Yeah. The Spice, your man, is it Sean Spicer?
Yeah.
The Saturday Night Live stuff.
It's incredible. Melissa McCarthy is
Sean
brilliant. Spicer.
That's it, Melissa McCarthy. Brilliant. Absolutely amazing. And so accurate as well. It's just like, man.
It's just a weird world we can't, because obviously you've got what's going on over here. It's such a weird, like, politics, I feel like, has just hit like the Twilight Zone for
Big
this
time.
point in time. I was like, yeah, okay, we'll figure our shit out. But for the moment, let's just go crazy for a split second and just completely fuck up everything. And like, I just the Trump thing on the one hand is like terrifying. And on the other hand, you kind of sit there and go, okay, if you can ride out 4 years of this, I mean, granted, what he did in 4 days was shocking enough. So God forbid what happens in 4 years' time. Whenever the Thunderdome becomes a thing in like 2 years' time, I'm assuming he'll be riding on like, the Master Blaster like situation of just
2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
But that's the we'll see. I don't have a huge amount of fear over the areas that I'm going to go work in. It hasn't really affected
California.
in that, but the part that I dislike is the amount of people I know that it has affected. I very much dislike everything they're kind of doing, but it's tough because you sit there and like from the outside perspective, like I can't do anything about this, and it seems like I just feel bad because no one has worked out how do you stop this thing. I'm like, 'cause this is the situation where like James Bond usually steps in and shit in these things.
But do you know what it is? I think John Oliver made a really good point in his thing. He was just like, if you basically have a if you're watching, Fox News as your life, or these really sort of kind of like you're reading the Sun or the Mail or something like that, and that you're getting told all this basically bullshit propaganda, your entire life, and then suddenly your president or your prime minister agrees with that, then you're like, wow, yeah, vindicated. I knew I was right. And that's why so many people put up with his lies and stuff, because they just sort of they think, well, he's saying what I'm thinking and stuff.
It's very weird because it's the basically the reverse of what most people's opinions. And I mean, half the issue I think with I have so many friends who are kind of the race kind of rioting kind of stuff that kind of has happened because of his policies and his opinions that he keeps saying is not so much the damage that they do in themselves, it's the kind of free pass it gives people with that mentality whenever the person in charge says that that's fine. And it's kind of a very like worrying time, eventually whenever he takes over the Senate, and then builds a Death Star is
have I ever told you the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Okay. Huge tale.
Huge tale, big, amazing.
It's. I mean, but that's the sad part of like seeing like. I mean, the weirdest part is seeing people like the South Park guys, or like the guys who were trying to do the new James Bond film. I saw a post up, and they were just like, "We are stumped on what to do now," because we're like, well, normally there's like political aspects to like our the series, and there's like we have this whole Brexit thing, and then we have this whole American government thing. We don't really know what to do with our like politically controversial supervillains in our film because it feels like
one's running the biggest democracy in the fucking land.
It's whenever you sit there and go, the James Bond guys are struggling with this. Like, you made supervillains who had like volcano bases, and you guys are struggling because you're worried also about doing anything controversial. Because obviously, James Bond films typically the Russians are, the bad guys in a lot of them, and what it's like. Okay, well, we don't really know where to go with this, or like, do we have James Bond like European places, or does James Bond now have trouble getting into European places? Does he have to have fake passports upon fake passports at this point because he can't do anything anymore? So it's just a very weird time for all of that.
That would be great if,
stuff,
like, the next Bond, MI5 is so broke post-Brexit that they can only afford to literally give him a gun. And that's all he has. You've got a gun and you've got an old black cab. We really need you to go and kill some people in China, but that's all we can give you. So off you go.
Oh man, fucking hell! When we went to Vegas after San Diego, and obviously in Vegas,
I think I know where this story is going. I remember you both ended
up in a strip bar, and I literally spent a good hour, 2 hours talking to a stripper about why she shouldn't vote for Donald Trump, and I literally couldn't believe it. Do you know what? At the time, I was just like, right, I don't want any dances or anything. I'm half cut, and you know I've already been rinsed for most of the night. I've spent a lot of money, and I just want to talk to this girl. And I was like, you know, she's like trying to get, you know, talk to me, trying to get business and things. And I was like, so what do you do? Blah 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 blah. I was like, so talked about politics briefly. And I said, so tell me you're not going to vote for Trump then? She went, I am. And I went, what? And she's like, well, yeah, you know. And I was like, what? And then she said, well, Bernie Sanders isn't in it anymore, so I'm going to vote for Trump. And I said, how the fuck? And I think I stood up at the time. I went, how the fuck have you gone from Bernie Sanders to fucking Donald Trump? And it's just like, well, I just don't like Hillary Clinton. I said, yeah, but she's the lesser of two evils. In the end, if you get fucking her in, she might, you know, she'll be gone in 4 years. You get Trump in, you've got him for life. There's going to be a massive dictatorship. And I sat there and I lectured. I lectured this poor girl.
You lectured a stripper on politics.
Yes.
Vegas was really lost on you, wasn't it?
It's just like, to be honest, it was quite good. To be honest, at the end, I think she said, she did actually say to me, and just you might be right. And I was like, I fucking know I'm right.
Yeah, what happens in Vegas stays political when Matt's involved.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like your friends are there doing cocaine off of like breasts and things like that, and you're saying the real problem with populism is that it doesn't really get to the heart of the economic problems.
But the thing is, man, I actually had this awesome conversation with this other girl who was a history major. So I was talking to her about history and stuff as well, and that was really good as well. So I was just sitting there, just talking to these girls about sort of politics and history and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm not getting rinsed for money as well, which is even better.
Yeah, I'm sure they loved that.
Diversion tactic.
Yeah,
definitely time.
I maintain though, like I have zero issues with the Trump administration. If it has any issues with me getting a visa, I am very. This is not me voicing any political. I have no say in anything political. But,
Gary buys his new overlord.
The hardest part for like any of this politics that is the thing I dislike is the actions that follow any of this stuff. Like take Brexit for example. Like I got furious on Facebook, and it wasn't because people were because the vote that people didn't the people I knew didn't want one. So eventually like, oh yeah, well the vote to leave won on that one there. It was the attitudes of people that came out where they were literally calling, you know, just C-bombs left and right about the other people that voted differently to them. And it was like, no, that is the part that infuriated me. Is like, regardless of if I dislike the result of this thing, no one should have any right to tell other people how they should have that opinion. Like, you can't go, this is your fault, you did this, you should have listened. Like, you can make your point where you were trying to talk that person into that, you can make all the points of the thing, but you like attacking people for their political beliefs or anything. It's kind of just that I just got so riled up because I was like, look, okay, you may not like the way this person voted and they had a reason for doing that thing, but do not start, you know, throwing like hate terms around at people because they did a thing. Because it was like there were people on my feed going, oh, this person is racist and that person's racist. Like, I know people who voted leave on the Brexit thing, and it wasn't because they were racist or anything. It was because one of them owned a small business and like he saw benefits of doing that one there, so that benefited him. But you just blanket termed him in with that, and as I'm sure there were some people who voted for the Trump thing either for a valid fucking reason, whatever that may be, or there are ones who voted for it for the obvious, like, not so good reasons of
building the wall.
There was also a lot of people that I know, I feel like there's a lot of allegiance to political parties.
Yeah,
that is,
absolutely.
People are afraid to vote against the party that they're with, and it's a very like weird process. Like knowing like like one of my friends who I was hanging out with, she was like talking about her family. They were like, they even though it was bad for them to vote that way, they still did it anyway.
Yeah.
Because that is just the mentality of
it's like
of that
sports
side.
almost. It's like I have a
You
team.
don't
I was
wanna-
raised
yeah.
with this team. This team needs to
You
win
don't-
every opportunity.
Yeah, you
See,
don't turn on your team, and it's a very just politics is one of those things that I just find weird anyway. And, like, I go through stages where like I have no interest in politics, and then the world goes to shit, and all of a sudden politics has my full attention.
So wait, 2016 was your fault then?
I mean, to be honest, like I'm going to throw this out there. Like there was a rumor that me and Nick may be responsible for Brexit and for Donald Trump because during both of those things, we were in each of those countries. So we were in America when that happened, and I remember we were watching the results coming in, and I think we were watching them, and then we went to watch Doctor Strange because we were like, okay, let's escape from this because we were watching it not go the way everyone expected it to go. And like we were sitting in the thing, watched Doctor Strange, the end credits of Strange rolled, loaded up the phone, and it just said Donald Trump is president. And I remember just holding my phone up to Nick, and the two of us just kind of sat there during the end credits of like Doctor Strange in just dead silence. I'm like, so
Nick,
that
we've done it again.
Because we watched the polls live, weren't we? Like we had on Google, you could watch it live, and it was updating. And we were in the 3BD office, and everyone was like, "Okay, right, well, we all voted for Hillary." I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, obviously it was California, so everybody fucking voted for Hillary. And then they just went, "Oh, well, she only needs to win this state, and it's
like
she
because
lost
we
that
had
state."
people giving us like the statistics of, oh, okay, she wins Florida, she's fine, she's all good. And then it was like she lost Florida, and it was like if she wins this, it was literally like watching Homer Simpson with the flying pig. And to a certain point of like, okay, it's just a little day, it's still good, it's just a little bit, but it's just like to the point where eventually just got to, it's gone. Just,
yeah.
You know.
I'm unfortunately I quite like politics and stuff like that. I'm a Radio 4 sort of guy. I listen to Radio 4 in the morning. I like listening to the politics side of things. And when you were saying about insulting people and calling in the C-bomb and things like that, and that is one of the reasons. That is one of the issues. I think. Say the left has with the right and stuff, instead of engaging people, like I might be quite sort of what's the word, vigorous and passionate about what I say when I believe in something, but I like to think I won't insult people and call them idiots. I
don't know, Matt. I've seen some of your very strongly atheistic posts, and you don't seem like you're giving a lot of credence to the other side there.
Okay, that you know what, Sean, when it comes to certain religious beliefs, I do have zero tolerance. When it comes to politics, I'm a bit more open-minded, I think, and it's just sort of maybe religion, maybe not so much.
I think it's the thing of religion is a very different thing to politics, where politics is an even playing field for everybody involved. Religion is a very much more specific thing to every person that has their own thing.
Except though, people seem to treat them similar because again, you've got that idea of this is my side. They are not of my side, so they are wrong. I must be right.
It's all tribal, isn't it?
And
but my major issue with it is this and I noticed it more. So coming from Northern Ireland, I have no affiliation with any major party over here because I wasn't brought up with them. We had idiot parties back home who all they care about is sort of gay cakes and fucking being creationists basically. I'm not sure if you've how much of Northern Irish
familiar.
Yeah, like politics, and they have a thing in the current ruling party. All the major parties in Northern Ireland, basically their policies are they ask God first and then they do it. That's the sort of thing because in what is it, the Giant's Causeway, Dave Foy, he's usually on these podcasts, the Giant's Causeway, they were doing a museum. And the ruling party decided that they had to put a thing in the museum that said that, there's that theory that this is all tectonic plates and it's all to do with volcanoes and stuff, but God could have made this as well. God could have created this stuff. And it's just like, why is that even a thing? And that's fucking annoying. Anyway, sorry, I've gone over my point, but I was just saying that I've come from Northern Ireland, no affiliation to any party whatsoever. So I've just basically, in the last, oh God, I've been here 17 years now. In the last 17 years, I think I've voted for every major party at some point in time in the different elections, based simply on reading policies and kind of going, well, I'm buying a house now, so that looks good. I'm doing this now. I'm doing this. So I was sort of flitting from one to the other. Now, as time's gone on, there's certain things now I don't think I could ever vote Conservative again, since due to the Brexit side of things. I think I was very upset about that, and I'm more gravitating towards sort of Lib Dems myself. I'm a bit of a middle ground sort of guy, but annoys me that I've got a lot of friends being in Manchester, Labour heartland, who are very, very strong Labour supporters, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that a lot of them seem to like that party simply because that's the way they've been brought up, not because of the policies. And it seems to be my father's a Labour supporter, my grandfather. They'll deny. I'm sure a lot of them, if they listen to this podcast, they probably get annoyed at me and say, "No, I understand that," but it's not. It's because I think that's how they've been brought up, and that's how they don't think about the other side, and they haven't had a choice. It's not like me, who's come across and has made an educated decision over 17 years worth of different sort of parties and things, and I've said, right, well, over these years I've voted for them, and now I'm deciding this is probably where I want to be, whereas they've basically just been brought up that's how they should believe,
with an allegiance to a certain
an allegiance. That's it.
It's a tough. Yeah, I mean, it's.
This
is the most political podcast I think I've ever done.
Yeah, and you know what? We say this every time. We don't do politics at Geek Pride.
I think we've covered more politics than we have anything else.
Yeah, at this point, we have.
Not even the politics of Game of Thrones at this fucking point.
Yeah. I like pictures.
Yeah. So
if there's a
our
Dr.
apologies.
Seuss version of this for Nick.
I do not like
our
those
apologies
Tories
to
there.
anybody.
I do not like them and their hair.
But yeah, okay, all right. It's getting on to like an hour and a half now, which is I'm sure we could carry this on for a very, very long time. So I think we're probably going to have to end it on that sort of political note. Before we do go, first off, you guys need to name the podcast, so we need a hashtag from you.
Hashtag yummy.
Fuck.
Hashtag what?
Yummy.
Hashtag yummy?
I think it should still be hashtag sad Alcott.
No, yummy. So
hashtag sad Alcott it is.
Oh, no. hashtag yummy. Gary did one of these online, the Facebook, add your profile and it does a thing for you, like the what kind of boyfriend for rent or whatever.
It wasn't even for that. No. It was the Urban Dictionary definition.
Urban Dictionary. Urban Dictionary, and one of the hashtags. Hang on, I'm going to put it up now.
It gave the hashtag yummy, but I feel like, to be honest though, hashtag sad alcohol is good. Or we could always bring back hashtag dicks for Nick.
No, definitely yummy.
For Nick.
Yeah, so Gary, a man who is incredibly sexy but also funny. He tends to be the girl's dream guy. He's also really good in bed. Use in a sentence, he's such a Gary in bed. Hashtag Gary, hashtag sexy, hashtag boy, hashtag hot, hashtag yummy. So, hashtag yummy is Gary. And
there's a hashtag yummy t-shirt now, just because it escalates.
Hashtag yummy it is then. There you go. That's it. Hashtag yummy.
No. Oh, go on.
Go on. It's going to be that anyway. We're going to have to get you back on again. I think we're going to have an all-star one, get some more people, get Kay on, get yourselves on.
We
just have a proper banter.
Plus, Kay has been desperate to have a Star Wars talk with me since The Force Awakens, because he was not a fan of that. So yeah, you can.
Really? Oh, we didn't even get to talk about Rogue One. God damn it! All right, we're gonna have to postpone that to another one.
Trust me, I got
right.
some stuff to say on that one there. So yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. We're gonna have to do that then. All right. Okay. We'll do an all-star one.
Just the next time round, no politics.
No politics. Yeah, that's just the way it goes. There
Okay,
you go.
I'm
You know,
genuinely surprised
we
I haven't had a
apologize.
CNN alert whilst we've been talking. So
we apologize to anybody who's listening that this is the views of the podcasters are
do not
their own
represent the
views.
opinions of any.
Completely fictional. Work of fiction.
All characters and people are fictitious. Just paste up the opening to South Park. Just that little disclaimer. But everyone is entitled to their own political opinion. You should only be judged on your actions. There you go.
Yes.
That's
Okay, so just need you to outro us. So obviously,
okay, Nick, drop a beat, yo. Sorry.
Yeah, so boom.
Oh, that was my suggestion. Your opening theme music. You should get Kay to lay down some rhymes over the top of that thing.
Oh, he's got a voice.
Yes.
Just because I listened to the podcast, he said it, and I was like, why have they not got Kay to do their opening theme?
Oh, to be honest, I thought that when he said he did music, and it popped into my head, and I forgot. Yes, somebody asked
I
him,
wrote
actually.
it down whilst I was listening to your podcast because I'm like, I'm going to tell Matt to do that because he's so shit.
It's not that
Yes.
it's not even that he makes music. He's got a voice as well. He can belt out a fucking note. Seriously. There's videos on his profile. If you dig back a few weeks, I think it's been a little while since he's done one, but he can belt out a note like you wouldn't believe.
Right, brilliant. All right, I'm going to get on that
Yeah,
then.
you should.
I'm going to get him. Yeah, brilliant. All right, cool. All right, so just give us an outro, guys, and then we'll leave it there.
This is #yummy podcast.
So
well,
I've been #yummy. He's been #sad Alcott.
Thrusting sad face. Yeah, no, it's been great on here. So yeah, Nick and Gary, Sneaky Zebra, depending where you're from. Just Google any of that. You'll find our YouTube, Twitter, Facebook,
And
Instagram.
I guarantee you, if you subscribe to it, it'll be far less political than this entire thing has been. If anything,
Totally.
there's no politics. But yeah, you can check it out. Literally anywhere with the word Sneaky Zebra or Zebra, depending on where you are and where you're listening to this.
Yes. All right. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. It has been really good. It's been very political and very informative as well. And we'll get you back on again soon. And good night.
Bye-bye.
Night all. Bye.